We are here at Ancient Blends Apothecare at 357 Tompkins Avenue. And this is a portal of healing energy, and I am the facilitator here, Comedic Priestess. And this space has been waiting to be womb space, waiting for the that particular spirit to come in and be the mother of this ship. You know, it's been waiting, and I'm honored to have been chosen to be the mother of this ship. I feel like my life has always been my work. I can't remember a time when it wasn't. So, and an example of that is when I would get an apartment. Like, I've moved a lot, and not because I want to, not because I enjoy moving, because energy shifts, and I feel like what it is that I'm offering, what I do to a community when I come into it, is needed in certain communities. So I'm moved, and it's like I'll just have to pack up and go. A circumstance will happen where it's no longer good for me to be there. So one of the first things I always consider, what does the outside of the building look like? Is the community safe? How many stairs, because they're elders, you know, for them to travel? Is there an elevator? Bus routes, train routes? How far will they have to walk from transportation? The space in my home, can I still have privacy? You know, how is the place arranged? Are they right there by the door? Are they right by the kitchen, right by the bathroom? So they don't go too far into my inner sanctum. So, but it's always a place for the work is always cradled within the home, has always been. Even before my oldest child was born, and she's 35, you know, so there was some years a little bit before that, before she came, where I was doing it, and then right when she came. So that's, I can document 35 years, you know, that part, and some before. But there's always been a cradle for the business in the home. I'm not sure exactly if it's astrological, if it's numerology, if it's, you know, the human's makeup. But I do know what I've practiced is integrity. I've practiced being disciplined, because respect for people's time, respect for other people's lifestyle. If they have children, if they have to get a babysitter, you know, to come to me, or, you know, just being respectful and wanting them, you know, showing them by example, because I want them to be respectful of my time too, because I'm catering to other people as well. So time is a big factor, and I've had to really practice being a person that shows up, being a person that's present, you know, like when someone is speaking to me and sharing, you know, not being, you know, somewhere else while this person is trying to tell me something real important, but really stepping out and listening to them and validating where they are, who they are at that time, you know, and also remembering when they come back 6 months later or 4 months later, remembering the conversation and jumping right back in, because there's a category, you know, inside me. I feel like they're like these little drawers of people's information, you know, files, names that go with faces, and stories to go with those faces, you know, and remedies, protocols that I've given. All of those are in the memory banks somewhere. So I don't remember a lot of little things, but I remember all that stuff. But yeah, I'm here for all of it. I feel like I'm definitely a vessel, definitely an instrument, and it's in the way that I have practiced living my own life that gives me the credentials and all the certifications and everything. It's me first, and what shines out of me and what you're attracted to, then that's what I'm selling. That's what, so it's certified because I'm living it. 80% spirit and 20% human, that's the body. You know, the rest of it is allowing, the human allowing the spirit to drive the body, you know, to navigate the body. Because when I decided to do things on my own, a lot of things didn't work out. It's not in my time, it's in divine time, and I had to sit back and trust that my higher self, you know, came here to have the experience, so allow that experience to take place. And good or bad experience is relative. It's not about, oh, well, if spirit is taking charge, then it should be perfection. No, it came to have the experience, whatever the experience, you know, whatever that applies to, came here to have that, you know? there's no success without failure. So if you're trying to do something, if you're, whatever it is that you're creating, it's like just keep going, because there's a divine timing for what it is you have been cultivating. I've been doing this work since the late 80s, picking up more steam in the 90s, early 90s. And I never, ever said that this was going to be the end result. I did not, out of my own human mouth and thoughts, say that the work I was doing was to culminate and be housed in any store. I was completely content with working from home because I didn't know there was going to be a time. Who knew there'd be a time where people would be sent out of their offices and told to go home and work from home? So what it was that I was doing all of a sudden didn't seem that crazy. It seemed like, wow, this is the thing to do, and more people picking that up. So it's just a matter of staying true, staying authentically yourself, and keep doing what it is that you do, because you just never know. I was minding my own business literally from home, and I received a download that told me that this space was for me. It was being held. It was available for about 7 years. And 7 is the number of spirit, and it's when it's time. And it's an old barbershop. So I feel like the fact that I've been a hair care professional since like '84, that it already had the footprints for such a person who was a hair care professional. So I left everything, I left the signature. And I did not know what to do with this space at first, but I kept open. I didn't discuss it with too many people, because sometimes when you discuss a download, you can be moved, into a physical place of how to do it. So you have to kind of know that Spirit gave you that idea. If it wasn't you that went for it, you stay in that state, and the rest will come to you. Everything about it will come to you. So people tell me, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And my thing is like, I'm not sure if that's a part of my journey right now, but I'm gonna listen. I'll keep listening to the universe. And then something will come completely different than what I'm thinking to do, the human. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just keep going with that. I'm listening. I make available space for the universe to continue to guide me, for my higher self to continue to guide me in what to do here. And this is really magical what's happening here. Of course, none of us knew that, this whole shutdown and stuff was coming. But we opened this space December 26th. The date was important because it's the day that my mother transitioned. At that time, it was about 14 years ago. And I just knew that this is when it's supposed to open, because the downloads came in October. So the space opened in December, and then the shutdown came in March. And a lot of people say, oh my goodness, that's so bad. But no, it was magical, because 3 months was all the community needed, to meet me in person. They might have known about me from social media or seeing me at like vending events, but that's all they needed. And it's become a sanctuary, not just for me, because if you still have to work at home, it has to feel like home. So one of the main things that people say is this place feels like home. And it's home for a lot of people that are looking for peace, that are looking for a healing environment. Even if it's real noisy outside, you walk in here and it's almost as if you were pulled into such a magical space. And people heal right at that door. I watch the weight come off of them. I watch the fear come off of them, and a lot of times I can tell that they don't want to leave. The only constraint that they have is that they have to be someplace. And that's the only reason they're leaving. They got to be someplace or we're closing, yeah. I've recently been named the plant whisperer. Plants stemming from going out and bringing nature in, and you want to see some of that inside your home also. So besides bringing in the sticks and the rocks and the pine cones, you want to help another sentient being, help nurture and watch the growth. There is nothing like watching a new leaf unfurl under your care. Yeah. Talk about success. And it goes the other direction when you see that new leaf turn brown also. It's like, what's happening here? So, it just kind of lets you know, you feel like you're doing something right. I'd like to talk about nature, my relationship with nature. the local parks around here, the time that I've spent in local parks, like going to teach people, well, first me studying with another elder, Mama Tyoma, about the wild foods in the park that grow as herbs that we don't know the name of. They say, what is a wild herb? It's a plant that we don't know the name of. Or what is a weed, actually, is the quote. What is a weed? Mm-hmm. It's an herb or a medicine that we have not found out the name of yet, that we have not experienced yet. And once we experience it, it's no longer a weed. Now we can identify it, and we walk with respect through the park. So respecting, first of all, the foundation that we stand on, my connection, respecting the foundation that we walk on, this earth, the Mother Earth. You bring a vibration from outside into your home, a vibration that feeds you and keeps you connected, to the outside, to the planet. And then that goes a little further into having all the houseplants in your house, and that's a whole nother topic. But it gives you, being in nature gives me the sense of wanting to feel stronger, wanting to experience what we feel outside, which breaks down to the ions, the negative charges that we get. You feel good when you're outside, when you're by the ocean, when you're in a place that's just really, really green. It makes you feel like, okay, well, when I'm home, I crave that feeling that I get outside. So that makes me want to surround myself all the time with the green. And making products with things that come from nature is another way of being surrounded by that energy. These are sentient beings, the trees, the plants, the grass, even the rocks. There's a vibration in all of these sentient beings that you learn to communicate. And communicating is not just, it's not talking to them, it's not hearing them with your physical ears. It's sensing, it's being able to sense their needs and what they have for your needs, being able to sense that. And you have to be quiet. You have to be quiet to get that. I've spent a lot of time being quiet. Listening inward, not allowing yourself to be distracted, helps you to hear what nature has for you, and nature and the creative forces, your higher self, has not stopped speaking to us. We've been distracted away from listening. I am now to become a spokesperson for the healthy journey into divine elder womanhood, namely the transition into menopause, that I find is not spoken on much in the Black woman community, not a whole lot. When I go researching, other people show up first. I have to dig deep to find, us speaking on menopause. I feel like it's a not so nice thing that we wave away, literally, the hot flashes, we wave it away, and we move on to another space where we want to appear, and hold on to the youth. But there's magic and honor in going and sitting in your seat and allowing your coronation, your crowship to happen, because all of these years you lived, this was years of garnering knowledge, and so you want to sit in a place to be honored for that knowledge that you have garnered, that you have lived, and now you're the authority to share. So I will be the spokesperson. I've accepted it. I've accepted the charge to be the spokeswoman for, the menopause transition, because I'm realizing that I'm probably about 5 or 6 years in that transition, and it wasn't a bother. And I attribute all of that to the lifestyle I've been practicing for the last 3 decades. Many of you know about the Cowrie Shell Center. The Cowrie Shell Center, which is my the holistic services part of my work, my ministry. And Ancient Blends was actually born out of the Cowrie Shell Center. They are the spiritual tools offered to me and to us in the form of cosmetics, hair care, skin care, body care, beard care, bath care. They've been offered to care for people's hair, care for people's skin. And then the Apothecare was also birthed out of the Ancient Blends under the umbrella of Cowrie Shell Center. So Ancient Blends Apothecare is kind of like the annex. So Cowrie Shell Center is still for services. I no longer offer a yoni steam, you know, based on the close proximity that we need to be and things like that. That hasn't been opened back up to me. I haven't been given that charge back to continue it, but I am still seeing clients for hair care, for wellness consultations, for any other type of consultations, even, you know, women's wellness consultations via, you know, a video chat or something like that. I still do that. And I also have what I call satellite students who are studying with me. They have questions, life questions, spiritual questions, you know, questions about keeping an altar, questions about, you know, just really being comfortable as they're learning that they are, you know, spirit having a human experience and just need some guidance. So I still offer that. My Instagram is at Ancient Blends Apothecare, and there's an underscore after apotha and right before care. Also, you can see my my plants in my home at Houseplant Diary on Instagram also. You can reach me on my phone number. You'll get a faster response with a text at 347-635-3676. Dragon blood sage is white sage coated in a resin called dragon's blood. It is from a tree. It is a natural element, and it really is a charger for white sage. So if we say white sage is at 50 frequency, then dragon blood sage is like 150. So white sage gives you a wipe down, and dragon blood sage gives you a scrub down. So what I say is that 6 foot distance that we're supposed to stand, that's your auric field, at least the amount that we deal with on this planet. 6 feet on the sides of us, 6 feet behind us. You know, they tell you stand 6 feet, 6 feet in front of you, and 6 feet under us. So you think of yourself in a globe, just 6 feet, covering you 6 feet around, and 6 feet under you. And you take the smoke and you send it up, and you just wipe that area. And then you do it so much as a practice that it becomes a dance of cleansing. And you play some music, and you're intentional. Whenever you're doing spiritual work, you're intentional. There is something out there. They're guardians. They're guardians at the 4 directions that you salute also. So you look at the space that you're cleaning to see what you're doing. You're not just haphazardly throwing smoke. There's a set intention, there are prayers. You're asking for any blockages to be removed from you, removed from your auric field, so that those prayers, those mantras, and everything you're trying to will into existence, that there's clarity on the other side out in the universe, that it can actually see you. You're not driving around or walking around and like this bubble that is just covered in debris, like a windshield. Think about the clarity that comes in when you clean the windshield. So this is like the windshield fluid in your hands are the wipers. I like to give you a visual of just that cleaning and clarity. You can clear your first eye. This is your first eye, not your third eye. It's the first. It's your intuition first. And then the physical eyes are your second and third. And then you clear your crown chakra.